Locks are for pussies.
Okay, just fucking fuck.
We start over.
Please.
Number 5 though is Resistance Fall of Man. Oh man, I remember when PlayStation 3 first came out and this game came out. Oh, I mean, it's just so amazing. You battling aliens and stuff, and some parts of the game, I'll be honest, I was kind of a little bit younger. Like every now and then I'll be going through this dark alley and something would pop out and it would I would shit my pants because it would scare me. But the whole game, the whole storyline to it, the whole what if this happened one day is just kind of freaky and I don't know, it's just a very, very great game that you can really, 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 really get into. But going back down the list, number 5. Keith Cobra.
Wait, did you do your number 5?
Yes, Resistance. Fall
Alright.
of Keith.
Okay, so my number 5 is Pokemon Snapshot, which is the most different, out there Pokemon game that there is. Again, it's another game that there's limited amounts of stuff that you can do, but I mean, going through the different maps, trying to find the different Pokemon, eventually finding Mew in the end, and trying to get really good pictures. There's all kinds of little Easter eggs like surfing Pikachu and things like that. The game was just so immersive for its time, and the graphics were, I guess, really good for what Nintendo 64 had to offer, and I just loved the shit out of this game.
My number 5, actually, you're gonna put out mine in a second, so we have the same one.
Yeah.
Is Jak 3. I own the original one, and I play the shit of it. And I really like that they took the direction of the game to Jak 3 with being able to use Dark Eco and then Light Eco, which is really cool. And I also enjoyed the gameplay was just amazing, and the storyline, the ending where spoiler, where Mars is your father, is the greatest way to conclude the series ever. I was like, yeah.
Game's a lot bigger than all the other ones too, but you summed up everything, so I'm not wasting time. Number 4 to me is Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Now the whole Ratchet and Clank franchise is just badass, and I really enjoyed Going Commando, the original, Deadlocked, whatever the first one for the PS3 was, but Up Your Arsenal was amazing. Just the story to that was amazing. Just how you can just keep upgrading your weapons. The weapons are so unique and cool. Gameplay is just awesome. I spent days and months and years playing this game. I wish I still had it.
Okay. My number 4 is Crash Team Racing, the one for the PlayStation 1. And that game was just the most incredible, stupid little arcade type racing game ever made. The whole, I guess the story of it wasn't really that interesting, but just the multiplayer for it was awesome, and the tracks were amazing. Some of my favorites: Sewer Speedway, Slide Coliseum, just great tracks to just slide around and just get in that.
My number 4 is Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. This game, out of all the Call of Duties, I agree with Tyler, has probably the best multiplayer out of all of them. A lot of the maps were perfect. I thought everything really worked out well. Campaign, I enjoyed a lot, especially All Gillied Up, One Shot, One Kill are probably the 2 greatest missions that the Call of Duty franchise has ever put up. I don't think anything could ever beat those 2, just an epicness, and it's just a perfect game. I'm not even going to go on more about it.
It's funny how you say your number 4 is Call of Duty 4,
Yeah.
and then my number 4 is Left 4 Dead. But I really like this game just because it's I don't know, one of my personal favorite movies of all time is Dawn of the Dead, and it just really reminds me of that movie where you get to walk around with a shotgun, or your limited array of guns though, and you get to just blow the shit out of zombies, and you face these tanks and these certain bosses, so to speak, and I don't know, it's just a very, very fun game. And it really keeps you focused the whole time. Hate smokers. But, number 3, I have to say GoldenEye. Alright, when I was a kid, we had a Nintendo 64. My brother and I this was the only game we would play. This was it for us. We would, you know, I'm talking about, I was just little, but we were competitive, you know, great controllers, you know, just going completely at it, like all out GoldenEye, you know, it's just, every GoldenEye game I've ever played is just the most fun thing ever, and you know, it's like you watch all these James Bond movies and it's really cool and like you want to do that stuff when you're little and you get to play these games. It's like, now I think back on it, it's like, oh, those were shitty graphics and the sensitivity was weird and all this, and back then it was just like the most amazing thing. A game I'll never forget.
Okay, my number 3 is, in a way, I guess, the Kingdom Hearts franchise, but more specifically the first one. You know, this game came out, you know, I forget when, like I was like 10 or 12, and at the time it took something from my early childhood that I loved and something that I loved at that time, which was Disney and Final Fantasy, and just mashed those two things together. The first game was like probably one of the more difficult games that I've ever played. Like later on, I just could not beat it. I still haven't beaten the game to this day, but I go back and I try. It's one of the most immersive and fun experiences. You can just kind of just go around and fight things. You can do the story. I have so many fond memories with this game. I love this game.
For my number 3, I could ramble on for hours and hours on end about this, and my love and hate relationship about these games, but it's the Call of Duty franchise. And I would say that, I'm going to sum it up really quickly, Call of Duty 4 was the best Call of Duty game, just saying, and Modern Warfare 2 ruined the Infinity Ward games for me, and I went to the Treyarch games, typically because I was just better at the multiplayer, and Zombies is like the greatest thing since like that time I wanted life. So, yeah.
Number 3 to me is Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. The third one was really good too, but the second one, without a doubt, is just classic. That is like one of my childhood. The next 3 for me are just my childhood, but I beat this game so many times over. I found out everything about this game. It's such a fun game to play. The Spyro franchise after the third one was never the same to me, but this is just this game, Spyro 2. But number 2 is there's 10,000 games to pick out of this franchise, but I'm gonna pick Pokemon Crystal. And I know, Gold and Silver were like the 2 main games, and then they put Crystal out. But Crystal, I put in at least a good 200 hours into that game, and I still own it, and I'm pretty sure all my stuff is still on there. I'm just not sure because I don't have a Game Boy. Pokemon is just an amazing franchise, and it's still. I haven't played one in years, but I know if I do, I'll just get hooked, like, immediately. Because even if you're, like, 50 years old, or if you're, like, a 12-year-old, this franchise is just for everybody. It's just a fun, addicting game, and there's just so much you can always do. Just catching Pokemon and, you know, leveling them up and giving them new abilities. It's so cool. There's such a genius Japanese people made that game, and they are geniuses.
My number 2 is Fable 3, and talk about somebody who sat there and played a game non-stop, because I literally, even when I remember going to the beach the one year, and after hours, if we go back to our hotel room, I wouldn't sleep. I just played Fable 3 all night to the next morning. I didn't sleep like at all the whole week I was there. And I loved every aspect of the game. I got every achievement in the game. I beat it 6 times. And when Fable 4 comes out, I am going to, like, a little piece of me is just going to spark back up. And might cry a little bit. The whole decision about being good or evil is just awesome in how I took the game in that direction. The powers, the weapons, incredible gameplay, story, everything. Lionhead Studios. Fuck yes.
What about Fable the Journey?
Fuck that shit. Go.
Alright, my number 2 is Halo 2. This game is like, compared to like the multiplayer of the first one, is just miles ahead of its time. The first really big online multiplayer game, the campaign was amazing, and this was like the first game to really get me into like shooters, and like I probably beat this game like 3 or 4 times. Probably put so many hours into the multiplayer when it was out. I just absolutely love this game.
I'm gonna switch my list around here a little bit. My number 2, I guess I'll have to say, is Spyro 2: Ripto's Rage. That's another game I played a lot when I was a kid. It's just so fun. It's not like the hardest game in the world. It's completely simple. Although getting a certain amount of orbs sometimes would really piss me off. I really wish I had this game again. I would pay top dollar for this game. It was just a great game. It's one of those like I said, it's not a hard game. It's just a completely fun game to play. You go into different worlds and get stuff. Number 1, I'm gonna have to say the entire Pokemon franchise, just because aside of the new Pokemon Black and Pokemon White games, I've played every single game. I know every single Pokemon. I know everything about every single Pokemon. Still to this day, I am a Pokemon master. I take pride in that, kind of. But I'm just such a loser. I mean, I know everything there is to know about Pokemon, like every move they can learn, what number they are, where you can find them in games. Like, seriously. What? I'm 18 years old and I still know all that stuff, but I still play Pokemon. But one of my favorite games has to be Pokemon Snap, just because if there's 2 things I love, or 3 things I love, bitches, photography, and Pokemon. And it has 2 of those things. So it's a pretty good game. And you go around, like Keith said, you take pictures of Pokemon. Oh my god.
Nudes.
There's bitches in that game. I would be all up on that shit 24/7. But Pokemon.
My number 1 game, and I know a lot of people are probably going to give me crap for this because it's so stereotypical, is Final Fantasy VII. This is the best Final Fantasy in my opinion. I don't care how good the graphics get, what they do to the gameplay. The story will never get as good as this game. There's just so much to do. One of my personal favorite things was the Chocobo races. Those were the most fun things ever. But this was the first game and one of the only games that I've ever played that I actually cared about what happened. Like most games, I just play the story. It's like, oh, his lady friend died. Like, no, I actually cared about this game. I actually felt connected to it. I really want to buy this game again. I don't care if it's $70. This game holds a special place in my heart.
Did you cry?
A little bit.
I heard it. Everybody cried.
Yeah,
Oh, you said Chocobo races.
Go.
My number 1 is the single greatest game ever made. Just throwing it out there. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. There was so much to do. It expanded so much from Vice City. I bought the game and I didn't give it credit at first. I started playing like other games on the side, kind of, and then I finally started to dwell into it and start playing it, and I got hooked because there was just so much to do. The map was huge. The game was totally ahead of its time, and I feel like even the new Grand Theft Auto 4 didn't even really do it justice because there was so much you could do with this game. But I just buy it now.
My number 1 game is Crash Team Racing. I beat this game like 8 or 9 times over, and I always dreamed about having somebody fun to play with, and I found Reggie, and he whoops my ass, and it makes me cry. But this game just offers so much enjoyment. There's a lot to do in it. Even though you can beat it, in a while. It'll take a little bit, but there is a lot to do, and the racing is just fun. I mean, it's a very just tightly made game. Like, everything just works pretty flawlessly, in my opinion. And this single game is my childhood. I played this game nonstop. I still play it, and I'll play it when I'm like 70, and I'll get mad because Reggie's still beating me. I'll be like, Reggie!
Alright, so that was our top 10 video games of all time.
We are Because We Care, and
With Sam and Tyler, and yeah, we're done.
shit, yeah.